Right. We should be live. Make sure everything's good. Let me move this over here. All right. We're back playing some Supermarket Simulator. I'm just playing this as a placeholder until tomorrow when Dragon Dogma 2 comes out and we can finally get into that. But I figured I'd mess around with this a little bit because this is a good thing that I can play where I can kind of just talk shit and not have to worry too much. So we're gonna mess around. Also, I think it's been quite a while since you guys have seen the progress that I've made. Things have changed quite a bit. The place has gotten much bigger. There's quite a bit going on here. Although I don't like this layout that I have here at all. I need to do something about this because I'm not a fan of what I got going on here. It's kind of a mess. But whatever. It's not that big a deal. Not the end of the world. I am gonna be probably watching some videos and stuff while I play this. What's up, Lion? Because some Dragon's Dogma 2 content that I wanted to check out has been dropped, so I want to look at some of that. And also there's some oh, there's a game that just came out recently called Alone in the Dark, and it is a remake supposedly of the old classic Alone in the Dark, which got me super excited because that was like my first kind of experience with a horror game. As a kid growing up, it was pretty much the first horror game I think I've ever witnessed. And to this day, I'm still creeped out by it. Like, just the thought, even though, like, if you go look at the original gameplay footage of Alone in the Dark back in the day, compared to now, you'd be like, wait, this game scared you? But yes, it did. It freaked me out as a kid. Satsu playing two at once. No, that up there is a video. I'm gonna be watching that video in a minute here, but I'm just getting myself together here. So I've actually been going through and just kind of allowing my store's resources to just deplete, and I haven't been stocking the shelves or buying anything new. I'm just letting just kind of letting it play out. And a lot of people are getting upset because they can't find what they're looking for, but I'm not really concerned about that at the moment because I just want to try to sell out some of this stock because I got an experiment that I wanted to try out. Don't forget to share the stream, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yeah, we're going to be watching some videos today. We're going to be checking out some Dragon's Dogma 2 stuff so I can prep for that tomorrow. And then once those videos are up and I get done talking about that stuff, then we're probably going to look at some Alone in the Dark gameplay because that game is very nostalgic. Very creepy game if I remember correctly. I haven't seen the gameplay for it in quite some time, but I do recall it scaring the absolute crap out of me as a kid. So I'm excited to see how that remake went. Other words, I mean other words. Otherwise, this is gonna be pretty chill of a stream. We're just gonna be kind of hanging out. So I put the computer here, and now I can see the items come in when I buy them, and it's so funny because like you can actually see the boxes popping in now and see what happens when they come in, and it's just as ridiculous as you would assume it is. Look at them just flying up like that. All right, we got quite a few boxes out here. Yeah, so I'm pumped for Dragon's Dogma 2, obviously. I can't wait. Uh I'm just ready to get into it now that I've played one again and kind of gotten it back into my system. And that one's probably going to be a very long playthrough. Like we're probably going to be playing Dragon's Dogma 2 for quite some time. Uh cuz there's just so much content to be had in that game. So many different classes to try out, so much open world to explore, which they claim is significantly larger than it was in the first one, which is always good. What's up, Zach? My shelves are looking bare because I'm letting all of my stuff go out. I'm not sure exactly why I'm buying stuff right now, but wait, where the heck is where's the shelf that I had all the pastas and stuff on? Yeah, I wish it was co-op, but it is what it is. But Monkey's been having a bad streak with co-op games with me lately. I haven't been able to finish anything with him because I'll play with him for a while and then he just vanishes forever and that's it. Just like I just can't get in touch with him for a while. Like I'll be playing with him and then he stops answering my calls and I don't hear from him for a while. Just like what the heck happened? Well, BG, I don't know. Horror games are still they're still kind of effective against me. Just in general, I'm still pretty susceptible to being scared by horror games. Uh, just because it's like, jump scares are embarrassingly effective against me. And also, too, just like very tense situations that increase my anxiety are not great for me because I am a very anxious person by default. So if you put me in a stressful situation, so yeah, you'd be surprised if they make it creepy enough, it'll probably still get me. You guys saw me play oh, what was that game I played? The one I think it was one of the only horror games I actually played on stream other than Resident Evil. Visage, I think it was. Yeah, you remember me playing Visage? That shit scared the hell out of me. I think it was Visage. My brain is telling me that's correct, but I could be wrong about that. Monkey drops off the grid every now and then between his health and family. Oh yeah, yeah, I know. And that's why I haven't even really, like whenever games come out, I'll call him and talk to him about them or whatever, but I don't even really suggest we play stuff together anymore cuz I don't want to make him feel like, he got to commit to something and then, he and also I don't want him to think I'm taking it personally or nothing like that. It's just an observation that I had. Just like we used to finish series and stuff together all the time, but this doesn't look like Dragons. It's not Dragon's Dogma. But we will be playing Dragon's Dogma 2 tomorrow. Pretty sure it comes out tomorrow. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm not so sure. I hate any bug bigger than and including mosquitoes. I'm not a fan of bugs myself. They're not really my favorite creatures. Not really my favorite. All right, so we're gonna check out a Dragon's Dogma 2 review. No spoilers from one of the channels that I watch often, Rage Gaming, because they did a lot of Monster Hunter stuff. You need more dependable friends that stream. Yeah, well, you know, everybody's grown and got kids and obligations, so it is what it is. I can't. It's just hard to, you know. I don't have a life, and I'm self-employed, so you know, I kind of got the time, and even me, I still don't really have the time like I want. So I got a bunch of shit going on too, so I don't even expect people to just make themselves available to play some fucking game with me. Let me see. All right, so let's check this out here. Let me know how the volume is on this video.
Goblin structure, and you wonder, how would it interact with a huge blast of gorgeous ice? That's what I thought.
Can you guys hear that? How's the audio on there? You couldn't hear it at all when I played the video? Here, I'll play it again.
And then you come across a poor pawn having a little scrap with a wolf, and he's dead. Oh, well, you move on, and what's this? A merchant under attack by the rest of its pack?
How about that? Is that better? I can turn it up more if need be. I just didn't want it to be too loud, because it's loud in my ear. But I know what you guys hear is not representative of what I hear. Alright.
Fear not, I'll save you from the wolves! Oh, God! Oh, Jesus Christ! Somebody save me from the wolves! Oh, this is so dehumanizing.
Fear not, I'll save you from the wolves.
And your loyal pawn comes to the rescue.
Oh my god, see, that's crazy. Like, the way the wolves kind of gang up on you and they drag you away from your teammates, that happens in Dragon's Dogma 1, but not that often. That's kind of crazy. Look at this, man. That has to be terrifying.
Oh, God! Oh, Jesus Christ! Somebody save me from the wolves!
So they comboed him. They comboed him and knocked him down, and then one of the wolves grabbed him,
This is
kidnapped
so
him, and dragged him over to
Fear
the
not,
cut.
I'll save you from the wolves.
And your loyal pawn comes to the
And then his homie came out and just sliced them all up. That's crazy.
rescue. With a compliment you can't help but feel is just a little bit sarcastic, but all is well and the merchant is safe. You claim your reward for happening by a conjurer.
Oh, you get a reward for that? So, like, you can just happen upon people who are just, like, getting attacked out in the open world, and then they'll reward you if you manage to save them in time? That's kind of cool. That's, like, very dynamic. Almost kind of like Skyrim.
Up a riftstone and decide to make camp for the night. Your health is low, your party is weary, and it's time to eat. God, that meat, though.
Oh my god. Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you guys caught that real quick. Hold
Your
on.
health is low, your party is weary, and it's time to eat. God.
This right here, this clip of this meat cooking, this is actually how it looks in game. Like, this ain't no fucking video of somebody on a cooking video cooking a steak. Like, I don't know why, but for whatever reason in this game, the cooking they made like photorealistic. And I know this may come as a shock to you guys, but that's probably what I'm most excited about. I can't wait to do the cooking in this game. If all of it dude, the only thing I loved about Final Fantasy 15 is the cooking. Like all the food. When you go to all the different restaurants, they had all the foods you can get and how real and how good the food looked. Could not stand Final Fantasy 15. That game sucked. But man, the food looked so good in that game. So I hope you can cook a lot of different dishes and they really went hard for the food in this one because I'm gonna be spending most of my time cooking.
That meat, though. And then sleep. Though it's not to be, for you've been attacked before dawn. You must defend your campsite and move on.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so in this game they have a new mechanic where you have to like camp out to regain health and stuff. When you're out in the open world or whatever, you can set down a camp so you guys can recuperate, relax, you can eat and all that stuff. You can get attacked like in the middle of your rest? Dude, that's cursed.
I'm sure nothing else will befall you today.
A few moments later.
Focus your strength, Arisen.
Okay, this is fine. This is fine. It's just an ogre. I can just need. Oh! God! Please! I just need a moment.
Oh my god. Whoa, what the...
I cannot.
Bro, hold on. So, they added ragdoll mechanics into this game now. Dude, what the fuck? Holy crap, look at this.
Today.
A few moments later.
Oh my god, smack this motherfucker across the map. So he's got the little sparklies around his head, so he must be dazed.
Focus your strength, Arisen.
Okay, this is fine. This is fine. It's just an ogre. I can just need. Oh!
Rolls over and stomps his ass.
Oh. God! Please! I just need a moment.
It just uppercuts him off the freaking... Holy shit, dude. I cannot wait to play this game. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so pumped for this game, bro.
I cannot express how much I love this game. Hello, my fellow Arisen. Yes, it's almost time. And thanks to Capcom, I have been playing and playing and playing. Like, seriously, I almost have 100 hours already. It's actually kind of a problem. And while, of course, I am at liberty
Almost 100 hours already? Yeah, he really likes this game.
to critique it in any way I see fit, it's good. It's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. Welcome to my review of Dragon's Dogma 2. And
Bro, he straight up just got King Kong. Fucking ogre just, or whatever the hell it is, he just grabbed him and just ran off with him. What the heck?
where to even begin? Well, firstly, let's get this out the way. I am well aware that a good amount of what I am about to praise and indeed critique this game for was present
Oh my god, did you see that? He was like drooling all on his head and then did he like bite his head? Is that what happened?
in Dragon's Dogma 1. I know that. But the vast majority of people looking at this game don't know that. Dragon's Dogma 1 was relatively small, relatively niche. I just want to set that tone going forward before every comment is, but you could do that in Dragon's Dogma 1! And so on and such forth. Now, to also get this out the way, if you did like Dragon's Dogma 1, if you enjoyed it, if you played it, if you had a good time, you will absolutely adore Dragon's Dogma 2.
See, I like the power and stuff that mages have. I think they're really nice to have in the party, but everything they do takes so long. I don't know if I would like playing even me who likes to be kind of the behind the scenes support character and stuff. Those spells take way too long to cast, man. especially like the big ones. I don't know if I would want to. I'm probably not gonna play mage in this one either.
It is an improvement over the first game in every single way and then some. And if that's all you need to hear, well then I wish you luck and both give you my respect for your commitment to going in blind and commiserations to the weekend you're about to lose in the blink of an eye come its release on Friday. This really is the game we've been waiting 12 years.
Oh shit, this game's coming out on Friday. I thought it was coming out tomorrow. Oh, the 20. Oh, man. Oh, well. Whatever. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. Maybe I'll finish up Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen tomorrow.
Years for, and it lives up to those expectations. For everyone else, let's talk this adventure. And I choose the word adventure very carefully and very deliberately, because no game I have ever played better encapsulates it. It is an adventure. The journey is everything. That's not because the ending is dissatisfying. Far from it, especially if you explore and pay attention, though I will say no more on that front. But
well, we can confirm that the tornado spell is still crazy OP. I mean, it takes you 45 minutes to cast it, but once you get that bitch off, once you get it off, it's crazy. Hold on, let me turn the lights on. There we go.
But because it puts you in it, like deeply in it. This is not Elden.
So real quick, the fact that they added a ragdoll effect to this game, it comes out 23 hours on Steam. Oh, so basically tomorrow at 8 p.m. I would assume that's probably it. Tomorrow night it's dropping. That's weird, man. I hate when games drop like, like release shit in the morning, bro. Although I guess based on the time zone they're releasing it, it's probably like a specific time for wherever they planned on it coming out, but whatever. I ain't gonna trip. That's what time I'll probably be streaming anyway. Well, we'll see. We'll see if I have access to it and I can play it.
Ring, this is not Monster Hunter, this is not Witcher 3. Though those are the 3 games.
Oh shit, what I was saying about the ragdoll? Pat, what the fuck are you doing here? The hell? I like double taked when I saw that. I don't think I've ever seen you in my chat over on Twitch. The hell? What's up, man? God damn it. Ragdoll. Okay, yes. The fact that they added it in this game is really cool because as you can see, instead of the boss just like falling in some weird way and clipping into the wall or something, like he's like folded up into the rocks and stuff like that. And that happens just statically in the game when you knock over enemies and they fall down. If they're next to a cliff, they'll like fall and slide off the cliff and stuff. Like it's the ragdoll I think is going to the ragdoll is really going to add a lot to this game, I think.
Whose essence I would most draw on if you are wanting at least some comparisons, but more than anything, it is Dragon's Dogma. That may seem obvious and slightly unhelpful to say, but there is nothing quite like it. The first game was charming beyond reproach, but it was janky. There were things that I can only describe as poorly thought out. There were things that were a mess, but it was so compelling that you powered through. Whereas now, well, there is still a little bit of jank, but it's a feature, not a bug. It retains that charm, but brings it up to an experience that you would expect from a big budget RPG released in 2024.
I will say the freaking dragons look crazy now, bro. Like, what the heck? Look at this dragon. Look at the detail on this thing. It almost looks like Gore Magala, man, from Monster Hunter.
That hasn't lost its heart. Or I guess has lost its heart because of the Arisen, and very much still has its soul. I really can't quite encapsulate it into words, but it is so easy to fall in love with this game, to fall in love with the experience, with the world, with...
Just look at the look how, man, like, obviously this game doesn't have like the best graphics ever, right? Like it obviously doesn't have like the greatest graphics. But like, just look at this fucking dragon, the way it dies. Looks like you had an upset. Oh, dude, all of my customers are pissed. Like, you see my shelves? Look at my shelves. Like I'm letting all of my stuff run out on purpose. Because I'm running a little experiment and I'm trying to get as much money as I can before I make any other decisions. So I'm purposely allowing stuff to sell out so people are not finding a lot of items. And it kind of doesn't matter because they're still spending about the same amount of money anyway. So when I go here, look at my daily statistics. 32 products were not found, right? That means there was 32 items that people couldn't find and they were upset about it. 12 items were still found expensive. Only 26 satisfied customers. But $4,100 as far as income, that's about what I make every day anyway. Like that's close to what I typically get. So it's not like it's really changing anything. I think it's actually beneficial. Like for a lot of people who really obsess about that, because like here's the thing. The satisfaction stuff, as far as that stuff goes, it doesn't matter. The only thing that affects is how much XP you gain, which is determined by what level your store level is. That's it. Like if you have an unsatisfied customer, you lose like 1 SP or something like that, but you get 5 per customer. So it doesn't really matter. The only time you lose like 5 SP as opposed to gain it is if you shortchange your customers, and that can't happen with these guys. Like only you can shortchange them. They never do. So you're gonna level up anyway. So at the end of the day, it kind of doesn't matter. Like if people are upset and they can't find the stuff that they're looking for, as long as you have a large variety of items and you're buying the licenses, it doesn't really matter. You're still gonna make money. So you can I'm obsessed about it. This is OCD the game. Absolutely. 100%. Like even me, like this is killing me. The fact that stuff is not on the shelves and people are leaving or whatever, the only reason that I'm able to do this now is because I had to actually go through and confirm with my own eyes that the profitability wasn't going to change much, and it's not. So I'm just like, whatever. But I'm planning on doing some remodeling, and I'm planning on doing kind of a mass upgrading of the overall store. I wanna buy like maybe 2 to 3 new spaces to kind of open up the store and make it much larger. So that's the only reason why I'm doing this, because it's a lot easier to do all this stuff when the shelves are empty. So, and plus, like I said, for experimental purposes, I've just been wondering, like, what happens if you fill the store and just stop putting stuff in there? You keep letting them buy in it. How long will it take them to clear out the whole inventory? That's kind of what I'm trying to see now. So it all works out that this happens to be something I don't have to pay attention to because I'm also watching videos right now. So there you go. So basically the day starts, I just open the store and just let them do their thing. Let me look at my loans real quick. Also, these loans, by the way, if anybody has been confused about the loans and the way that they work, if you're going to take out a loan, automatically put it on the quickest pay term. So 5 days is the fastest you can pay it off. Put it on 5 and take the loans. Let like 3 days pass, like 2 or 3 days pass, and then pay them all off early and then take the loans again. You're just gaining constant money doing it like that. So yeah, you can get you end up getting a lot of money. You basically pay the loans off like 2 or 3 days earlier, and then just keep taking them out and keep paying them off in early and keep taking them out, and you'll get more and more money that way. It's a nice little. I was confused about how the loans worked at first, but yeah, that's a good way to do that. Anyway, yes, dragons. Yes, these dragons look really cool. They're very detailed. And I love the ragdoll effect and the way that things die in this game and just kind of fall into the environment. It really adds a bit of immersion to this.
That your interactions as you go through it. It's a slow game. If you want to just be done with it, if you
Look at
want
all
to
those
rush,
saurians, man.
you can complete the main story very quickly, and you can have a very hollow experience in doing so. But if you meet Dragon's Dogma where it wants you to meet it, if you breathe it in, stop and smell the proverbial roses.
Oh my god.
Well,
Oh,
then,
it actually took
it
them
has
up.
a treat
Hold
in
on.
store, and then
It actually took them up into the tornado. I didn't know it did that. Did it always do that? I thought they just took wind damage from it on the ground. I didn't know it like sucked them up into the tornado.
done with it. If you want to rush, you can complete the main story very quickly, and you can have a very hollow experience in doing so. But if you meet Dragon's Dogma where it wants you to meet it, if you breathe it in, stop and smell the proverbial roses.
Wow, yeah, it just sucked them right up into it. What happens to the loot? Like, does the loot just fall right there, or does it get like thrown around too? I hope not.
Well then, it has a treat in store, and then some. You want to have that slow burn. You want to spend the time walking the roads, traveling.
Oh my god, dude, look how fucking cool that is. Did you guys see them falling from the sky into the water? Look at this shit, dude.
And then some. You want to have that slow burn. You want to spend the
Bro, look at that.
time walking the roads, traveling town
Dude,
to
that's
town.
fucking cool as hell, man. Oh my god. That is so awesome.
Exploring the huge, handcrafted, passionately put together world. Everything has its place. Every encounter is there to challenge you, and every cave is there to lure you in with its.
Bro, I do like that floating around with the mage though. That's actually kind of cool. Oh wait. Let me unpause this. I had this paused. Why did I?
Secrets and its sweet, sweet loot. Nothing wastes your time, and nothing insults you either. This is not an easy game, not so much in mechanical difficulty. In fact, on that front, it's much easier than the first. Though not overly so, it's in a really lovely sweet spot, at least to my taste. You will feel that yes when you take down a mighty drake, but you won't be there beating your head against it for 6 hours because the controls won't do what you want them to. Which, you know, I can't speak for all of you, but certainly was a common occurrence for me in Dragon's Dogma 1. But it does not hold your hand in the most global sense. Quests, you have some direction, there is limited markers, but you really are left to work things out, to use what you have learnt, and to think.
Man, what vocation am I gonna play in this game? I'm thinking I'm probably gonna go Strider Assassin. Because that's just kind of what I know right now, and that's the play style that I'm really in the mood of playing. Although Strider Assassin in this game is 100% melee. There is no ranged option. It's just melee, which is actually very interesting to me. But I am interested in the was it the magic the dude with the pole arm or whatever, or with the thing with the two blades on it. I forgot what it's called. The Mystic Knight or something like that. I don't know. That looks pretty cool too, but that might be my second choice.
Think things through, to make decisions that you actually reason make sense to make. So much of this world is open-ended. There are hundreds of characters, each unique with their own names, their own wants, their own desires, and a lot of them their own problems that you can get involved in. But not only can you have many paths in dealing with the side quests and indeed main quests as they arise, sometimes getting involved at all is the wrong decision. Everything you do...
You go to bed?
A little bit.
Love you. Squishy, a wild squishy has arrived.
has consequences. How you treat an NPC doesn't just affect what that NPC does, but it can affect how they then treat another NPC, and that might rear its head many hours later, and you're caught off guard, but still left thinking, oh, damn it, obviously, oh, I'm an idiot. And that is a really cool little moment.
See, a lot of people don't like that stuff about these games, but I have kind of a love-hate relationship with it. I like it because it encourages replayability, like it encourages you to play the game again. But nothing sucks more than like making a decision in the game and then finding out it had a detrimental effect that you could have avoided, and you're just like, oh no, I didn't want this. And the game's like, well, too bad. I mean, this is what you signed up for. It's like, but I did the fine print. It wasn't there. I didn't see it. They're like, yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. This is just these are the consequences to your actions. And I'm like, no, I want to go back. So it's fun. It's fun, and it's nice to have because it makes you want to play the game again. But it sucks because, man, I got enough regrets in my life. I don't need more.
Moment that really does shine. And beyond that, the world doesn't wait for you. So many things will happen without you if you're not on it. You've been asked to do something as simple as save a boy from wolves that have dragged him off to their den. You fuck about, you go do other quests, you get distracted, you forget you're not going to have a boy to save, you're going to have a body to retrieve. And that...
Wow, that's I mean, that, you know, that obviously, yeah, like obviously, right? But once again, like Random said, very few games do that well. Like, there are some games like, I don't know, Fallout 4, for example, where you have this time-sensitive thing that you're supposed to be doing, and no matter how much time passes, you can just dick around for 6 months while you're supposed to be going to help or rescue somebody, and it doesn't matter. There's no consequence. It's just like, whatever. You'll get to it when you get to it. But in a game like this, you know, they're like, hey, some wolves dragged a kid out to a cave. Like, he needs saving, and you're just like, okay, I'll get to it. And they're like, bro, like, I mean, they gotta eat, and they're gonna, so you should probably hurry up. That's fucking cool, man.
Is very much permeating throughout. And because of that, everything carries a much greater sense of weight. You don't have this, I'm gonna go to the capital city, talk to 75 NPCs, get 58 side quests, and then check them off over the roving hills of the countryside. It's not that kind of game, and that's so good. Every little side quest is, you have my attention. I am going to deal with this because it's important, and because if I don't, I might never get to. And when your attention is being pulled in multiple directions, if while hurrying off to save said wolf boy, someone runs up to you and goes, Arisen, please, disaster! The town's under attack by a drake! You're there like, oh, what do I do? And that really...
See, I like that though, man. I do, because okay, there's so many games out here that are called, quote unquote, RPGs that are missing the whole RP element. You know, where it's just like, you don't feel like the choices that you're making in the game are your choices. They are choices that the game has presented to you, but they don't feel like any choices that you have any kind of agency over. And this game really feels like, because like obviously if I'm if there's a boy that needs saving and I'm on my way to do it and somebody's like, "Hey, this other thing." I'm like, I got to go, like, look. I'm only one person, man. I'm going to be right back. Let me go save this kid first. But, you come back to the village and the village is burned down and you're like, "Fuck." Like, but the so you got to weigh like what's the most important, this one kid's life or the lives of the many that are in the village. Maybe the village can hold themselves off, but this boy, he can't protect himself at all, and nobody's going to be there to save him. But there's several people in the village. Maybe somebody will be able to do something. Like it makes you think, like you have to actually think about it. I love that, man. I really do.
Really creates moments that you remember. Do you risk a child unable to ever return to the grandfather that asked you to save him? Or do you risk rushing to the town after doing so, only to find the Drake long gone and the buildings in ruin? NPCs can die, and their bodies will get taken to the morgue. You can go there, you can revive them at the cost of a wake stone, but wake stones are few and far between, and they are precious. It is a...
Really? So when people die, like people die in this game, like actual NPCs will die, and you can actually revive individual NPCs with wake stones? Because I know wake stones had a big resurrection element in Dragon's Dogma 1, even though a lot of people didn't really know about the mechanic. But there was a ton of times in that game where you could kill somebody as a consequence to a quest and then revive them after you killed them. I didn't even know that. The first probably 3 or 4 times I played that game, I had no idea that was even possible. There's one quest where you can revive this merchant's son or something like that when he dies, and I knew about that, but like I didn't know it was to that extent. But in this game, people get sent to the morgue, and you could just go to the morgue and be like, "Hey, bro, I wasn't done with you yet." Like, I, I still needed you. It's like you're not allowed to die. That's nuts, man. Holy shit. Okay, 8 satisfied customers, 46 products not found, still made $3,300. Not bad. Much less than 4,100 from the previous day, but it fluctuates. Is what it is. I paid my bills. Now let me go take care of these loans real quick. No late payments. We don't do late payments here. Man, sheesh. Loans taken 3. Number of days left. Wait, why did I have so many? Why did I have so many payments if only one day has passed? I just took these loans out, right? Or maybe those were the payments from before. Hmm. It seemed like I just paid a shit ton in loans. That was weird. Anyway, moving on. All right.
A decision not made lightly, and one you don't want to have to make often if you can avoid doing it. Just as the decision to use something as simple as fast travel comes into play as a measured, carefully considered option. Fairy stones let you travel to designated points around the world. Some you can put down yourself, little port crystals, and others fixed in certain towns. But these are expensive to buy and hard to find. It really is a measured response to, I need to teleport, I need to get back to the capital city right now. Otherwise, you're traveling, and I do mean traveling. It comes back to that slower pace, that journey, that adventure.
Oh, do you guys see that? You peep that? You see how he used his own ice pillar that he just created as a platform to climb on top of the building? Like, see, that's the type of shit. That's the man. Look, this game, and see, this is the worst game for me too, because when the possibilities are that open ended, when you can think outside the box and pull off shit like that, that's like my kryptonite, man. Because my brain doesn't conjure up shit like that, man. A lot of stuff I have to be told because my brain don't be thinking like, yeah, you could just do this thing. You know, I'm not super creative when it comes to that stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Sure. If you're in the northern Vermont town of Melv and you need to go to the capital city of the Beastren nation of Batal, that's a long way. That is a consideration. There is new ox carts that let you doze off and then you will wake up at where you're hoping to go, but they don't go everywhere. And to make that journey, you're taking 3-4 separate ox carts or you're running. And that's going to take multiple days and nights. And in that time, the world moves on, side quests progress, things change. So is that the right decision right now?
Oh wait, it's even to that extent? So like the actual passing of actual time in the game can affect, because Dragon's Dogma 1 wasn't like that. Because you guys remember, like, I had to do something for the king, and he's like, oh, this is so urgent, go do this thing. And I went to go hunt dragons for like 3 weeks, and it didn't matter that I slept at that place like several times. Like, it didn't change anything. But in this instance, now we're talking about the fact that just time passing can make you fail a quest. Man, that's gonna be rough.
And even then, even if you choose to use the ox carts, they get attacked. You wake up and a cyclops is bearing down on you. If you don't protect it well, it's going to destroy the ox cart, stranding you in the middle of nowhere in the middle of night. And now you are walking along being assailed by the undead and the brutalness of being out in the wilderness without the sun in the sky to watch over you, when everything is, let's just say, significantly more deadly. Do you forgo the rest of your travel and find a campsite to hunker down at? That's probably a good decision, but what if again you're on a time limit? You really do have to plan in a sense that's really enjoyable when it's pulled off. But again, only you can tell if what I'm describing sounds like a good experience. If you really let yourself sink into the world of Dragon's Dogma 2, it will reward you with awesome memories.
Wow,
But
that's
it is
cool.
certainly
That's cool. I don't think I've ever seen a mage mount a monster like that before. Like, he climbed up on the monster, got right up on him, and then like did some concentrated magic like right up on him into his face. That's that's pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
not something that is there designed to give you back-to-back high-octane dopamine. Whoa! It's a slow burn, and it earns. You earn the high points made ever higher by that fact. Even something as simple as every time you take damage, your max health goes down. Eventually, you need to rest to recover it, or everything is going to one-shot you and you just can't make progress. That in itself, initially, I was like, I'm not sure if I like that. But then, it just kind of clicked. You can't just adventure forever. You're Arisen, you will get exhausted, you need to sleep, you will get fatigued, you will start to make mistakes. The same goes for your pawns. You need to rest, just as travel time is real. And that's what I'm saying. The journey. It's rare that a game really conjures up what I imagine it would be like.
So they really just played up the fantasy in this game for sure. Like, this is going to be by definition, an actual adventure game
If you suddenly
with the consequences that one would have to face taking on an actual adventure. That's kind of scary. Like, I don't, like I said, Dragon's Dogma 2 was pretty immersive when it came to, adventuring and stuff and getting out into the world and how quests and stuff were done. But this is like a whole nother level. I'm trying to think of the only other game that I can think of that had this large of a sense of urgency as far as time is concerned, that made you really feel like I have to get stuff done in a timely fashion. I have to plan out my every move to make sure that I get as much done as I can is like Dead Rising, which shockingly enough is another Capcom game. Oh man. I'm really getting Dead Rising vibes from the way they're explaining how time works in this game.
woke up in its world and had to operate by its rules, but this does it, and it does it in a way that for the most part really, really works. And beyond that, does it with heart. Your pawns are so charming. They have infinitely more dialogue that is more interesting and more helpful and more enjoyable than the first game.
Oh, that's good to know.
Contextually, they have lines I have seen about every single quest I've ever been on, in different ways depending on what you choose to do. They talk to each other and have actual conversations alongside you. They react to what's happening in a way that really makes it feel like you're playing a multiplayer game, but they're your, AI companions. And by the end of it all, you really will forget anything other than your pawns are just your companions. Just a little touch, like a hard battle won. They want to give you a little high five or a fist bump, like, yeah, we did it, Arisen. And it's like, you get to the point where you're like, yeah, we did, come here, high five.
Oh, dude, that's so fucking... That right there, it's such a small thing. Like, it's such a small gesture. But, fuck, dude. Like, that is the type of stuff that really makes you care about these NPCs that you have bringing up. Because they're not just, just a part of your build, just like extra damage or extra whatever. Like, these are your friends. Like, these are people you every night you break bread with. You know what I mean? They're having conversations, they're talking to each other, y'all are learning things together. Like, that's man. I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I caved and watched a leak stream. Game's gonna be. Oh, yeah, man. Look, there are two game franchises that I always have looked at over the past maybe 10 to 15 years that I know are gonna be good. And that's Monster Hunter and Dragon's Dogma. Like, those are the two where I'm just like, look, I don't care if there's a new Monster Hunter dropping, I'm getting it because it's gonna be at the very least fun. Even if it's not my favorite, even if it has some flaws or whatever, I know Monster Hunter will always be worth purchasing until they fuck up, and they have yet to do it. So I don't look. Their track record speaks for itself, and Dragon's Dogma ain't missed. Even Dragon's Dogma Online was pretty good over in Japan for the little time that it had, but their business model for that game was completely terrible, despite the fact that the game was pretty fun. So I'm excited. I'm all in. This is one of the only games I've pre-ordered in a while that I wasn't like, should I have done that?
By the way, any of you going into this game, if you ever leave any of your pawns hanging, you are an absolute monster, except the few times that I do it in the Pro and Noob series, because, my main pawn is Cotton, and, sometimes you got to teach him a lesson. And it's just so charming. Like, my god, that's the kind of thing that I'm saying where it's so easy to fall in love with this game. And to talk on the pawns... And, well, the AI, it has never been better. It's so good. They're so helpful. They stay on task. They do what you want them to do. There's no weirdness or annoyance.
Bro, are these slimes? What the fuck, bro? What? See, oh man, they're just adding so much. to this game, man. They showing off at this point. At this point, they're really showing off. I'm getting those Baldur's Gate 3 kind of vibes with this game where the possibilities are limitless, but not in the way like Baldur's Gate got its own thing, and it's kind of got that sandboxy kind of think outside the box. There's 1,000 ways to approach this situation kind of thing. But this is a little bit different. Like it's hard to explain. It has an unpredictability built in that rivals real life, you know? And I really like that. I really like and appreciate the fact that this game is really gonna put you in the position of where you're just like, man, every decision I make matters. Like I have to actually think about stuff.
They make decisions so often that I would make if I was controlling them in that situation as a human. Yes, there are times where there's going to be little hiccups, but honestly, and this might be a weird thing to praise something for, to really stress, but I have never experienced an RPG that has had more naturally, completely organically occurring, hilarious shenanigans moments ever. And considering there isn't another human deliberately doing weird stuff to create them, which is obviously always fun too, playing with your friends, silly things happen, is a mark of, I want to call it accidental genius. Like fighting through melting slimes in a cave. We kill one and then Pawn Godden's like, haha, yeah, we did it, high five. But I didn't know, so I turn around and I'm running back through the cave only to run into his high five, which locks us in the high five animation.
no.
As another slime envelops us, causing us to go into the I'm dying animation, and the other two pawns come on to try and help, and everyone's just here melting away, and it's like, oh my god, this is a disaster.
It's fucking hilarious, dude. What? Oh my god. Yeah. And I think it's kind of endearing too. Like if the pawns were just like perfect AI and they were completely flawless and they did everything how you expect it perfectly, exactly how you want it. Like obviously that would be ideal for gameplay and you'd be like, good. Like they work. That's how it should be. But I kind of like the fact that they have a level of like stupidity that feels organic enough to where you're like, yeah, there's a chance that these guys can be idiots sometimes, you know? Like they can make mistakes, they can do stupid shit, they can have really poor timing in situations, you know what I mean? Like it feels more realistic to me. Like to some other people, they're probably like, "Oh, this game, the AI is broken. They don't always do." But I feel like it adds to the adventure. Yeah, guy's having a bad day. Clearly, he picked the wrong time for a high five. Like that was just not the time for it. He fucked up. Now everybody's getting melted.
But it's so funny. Like it's such a great, like that's a memory right there. Like it's so brilliant. And if you find that situation I've just described charming as opposed to frustrating, you're gonna have a great time adventuring with your pawns. Not that I want to oversell how often it happens, because it doesn't. It's just a great example. And it really is. Like, I can't express it enough. You will smile so much at so much that happens, and none of it is inherently designed to happen, or a scripted moment, or a specific point in a specific quest. It just does. It's such a fun, like, representation of adventuring in this party and doing your best to conquer every challenge in your way, to navigate the political and social dynamics and problems, and to...
I do like the fact that there's like, okay, for anybody who's played Dragon's Dogma 1, when you look at your skill screen, like it's just a list full of skills. And they give you a pretty decent explanation as to what the skill does, but you won't know what it does until you actually go out and use it. The fact that they give you kind of a preview here that shows you exactly what the skill is and what it's going to do, like in a short little video clip, That is very nice. And that is something that they got from Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter does this with your weapon abilities and stuff. When you go into the to choose your weapon and stuff for different things, they have this little video preview that'll show you like what you can expect. And it's not all that helpful in Monster Hunter, but definitely helpful in this game. That's really nice.
Simply get by, and I really can't express enough how much I adore it. Now, I realize at a certain point during this whole little shindig, the footage went from my own to sort of trailery type things, and that's because I am limited in what new original gameplay I can show you, which of course is a shame, though I do understand, but I didn't want to just end it at that because I have so...
Oh my god, like between this game, Monster Hunter Wilds, like I don't know, man. What else is coming out? There was another game. This Monster Hunter Wilds. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Season 4 of Diablo 4 is actually looking kind of interesting, even though I know people are just like, ugh, Diablo 4. And I don't blame you, but Diablo 4 is my Steam Deck game. That's the game I play on my Steam Deck when I can't be in my office. So I'm still kind of sideways rooting for it. I didn't play any of Season 3 because Season 3 was just ass. I'm sorry. Like, if you enjoyed any of Season 3, I apologize that you wasted your time. But god damn. I played Season 3 for like 20 minutes and I was just like, oof. No thanks. I'm good. But Season 4 sounds like it's gonna be good with all the revamps and stuff. Not going to spoil it, but man, they got some cool skills. Oh yes, that's it. The Elden Ring DLC. Oh my god, yeah, This is like RPG heaven for like the next at least 2 years.
Much to say, so I hope you have been enjoying that regardless. I also realized that when I...
Also, by the way, if you're new here, if this is like your first time being here in my stream, or maybe you've seen a couple videos and this is your first time catching something live, don't forget to subscribe so that way you're notified when I go live again. I'm going to be streaming a lot of Dragon's Dogma 2 when it comes out. I play a lot of Supermarket Simulator because I really love this game, and I find myself to be relatively entertaining. Which I don't know how fucking taboo that is to say, but it is what it is.
When I look at a game, I really like to look at how it makes you feel, right? The memories it will create, the enjoyment that you will have. I know a lot of you might be asking...
Season 4 is not out. Season 4 will be coming out May 14th, I think. They pushed it back because they're doing the test realm, the public test realm. So you can play the public test realm a week before the 14th. I believe. I don't know what the stipulations are. It's a public test realm, so it should be pretty easy to get into if you want to. But other than that, Season 4, from what I've seen from the video that I watched about what they're doing and the changes that they're making, personally, I was like, I'm in. Because it's a lot of the stuff that I initially had problems with Diablo. Some of my biggest gripes were addressed. So I'm just like, all right, well, they're listening, so I'll give it a shot and see if I like it. So I'm in for Season 4, but Season 3 was ass. I was not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, but specifically mechanically, how does this work, or this vocation, or this new hybrids move, or what about the stats and stuff? And obviously that is all important and makes a big difference, but for me, the question of whether to give something your limited free time really does come down to the heart of it. And that's what I like to focus on when I talk about these games. That said, if you do have any questions specifically on anything, and we can tell you the answer, please ask them down below. Cotton will also be giving you his review and take on it, and that is where you'll find a lot more of that specific stuff, and anything that you do want to know, we will do our best to put it in and make it so. But for now, on with this show. And being able to walk up a hill past a statue that always shows a place that you probably want to check out, get some loot out of a chest, and see the capital city in the distance, knowing that you can walk there without any loading screens. And I really can't stress that enough. The only loading I've ever done after initially, getting into game is fairy stones. And even then, it's not literally loading, it's just kind of a fade in, fade out like ox carts. That is very, very nice. And really sells the grandioseness of everything going on. And it really is grandiose. So yes, the world is massive. It is not...
Wow, look at that. Look at that map, man. Stats are set, doesn't matter what class you want to play. Does this game do the same as the first one, where depending on what vocation you level up and what order you level them up in, it determines your stat allocation throughout the game? Is that still the case? For example, like, if you want more strength, you would, like, obviously have to use certain vocations to do that. If you want more defense, you would level up specific vocations first. Like, there's like an order to min-max if you want. Like, I never got into min-maxing because that literally takes the fun out of games for me. Like, min-maxing in general, just the concept of it sucks all the fun out of games. And unless you're, like, already at endgame, like you've done all the stuff and now the only thing to do is get stronger, then maybe I'll do a little, obviously, like, it's part of the game, you got to get stronger, you're going to do that stuff. But just, like, meticulously, like, I'm only going to play this game the most optimal way and do all the most optimal things and make sure that shit's boring. It's boring as fuck, and it ruins the game for me. I'm like, this is not fun. I'm not even playing it of my own free will. I'm just following some guideline to reach some very specific outcome, and that's just lame. So I don't really like doing min-maxing. More power to people who do, but I'm not really a fan.
Not like gonna win any of those, oh yes, we've got a bajillion kilometers squared empty field for you to run around in. No, but it is big, and it feels even bigger because of how dense it is. There's a lot going on, and all of it is worth seeing. Everything is visually gorgeous. The story, the way quest works, the pawns and how they play out, and all of the groundwork, all of the systems, the way the vocations work now. Swapping has never been easier. Stats do reflect when you swap, so you don't have to level as something that you don't necessarily like to make something else better. You have really cool new skills to choose from. The equipment, there's a lot of returning and a lot new, a lot to find. A lot of it looks so good. Sadly, few little niggles and no, like, Helmar for a transmog, which does feel like a missed opportunity. Fashion Dogma is everything, and I'm not going to wear a cape or a helmet at any point throughout the entire game, more than likely, and neither is my main pawn. But that aside, yeah, the base fabric of the game has never been smoother. The quality of life is there.
They understand people don't want to play certain classes. It's all set now. So when you go to a class, you unlock it and you play that class and you level it up, it is its own independent thing and doesn't, like... Because, like... if you wanted to play certain things, you had to, like, okay, you need to play these 3 classes, unlock these specific skills, and then you can put all those skills together that you learned from the other classes, and then you got your one class. I didn't really like that. I wasn't a fan of that at all in the first Dragon's Dogma, because it literally forced you to play with characters you didn't want to get certain things. So if they have it to where, like, you play this class, you're going to level up along the path of this class, get all the stuff that they have access to, and they have their own specific stat allocation, I'm all for that. I actually prefer that much better than what they did before. Because that shit was. I don't like being forced to play classes I don't want to. I'd rather not.
Without making things too gamey or too easy, and how everything actually functions is really well thought out. Except a couple of caveats that we'll get to, but first, I really should touch on combat. Visually, as I just said, spectacular. The spells, but every vocation has some magnificent moments to pull out, and it feels infinitely better than Dragon's Dogma 1. It's still slow. That word slow comes back. You're not going to be spam dodge rolling around. Bosses aren't going to be moving at 100 miles an hour as you dance with them. It is methodical. You avoid being hit, and yes, things like the Thief and the Archer do have some sort of dodging capabilities, but generally speaking, you avoid being hit by standing in the right place at the right time.
I like that. I like the more kind of slower, intentional combat. It makes the game feel a lot more weighty and impactful, as opposed to just, the super quick, kind of very fast pace, perfect dodge, parry type stuff, Like, I don't know. I'm not good at those type of games, which is probably why I don't like them. I won't say it's bad, obviously. I don't think it's bad games that have that, but I'm not good at it, so I don't like it because I'm not good at it. And a lot of people won't admit that. They're like, I don't like it because it sucks. This sucks and it's bad game design. It's like, no, you suck, and you don't like it because you suck at it. That's just keep it real. Like, ain't no point in lying. You're terrible at it, so you hate it. No shame in that.
Time by flowing with the ebb and, well, flow of the encounter. Big burly monsters are slow. You casting a spell is slow. You have to make that call when and where. It doesn't matter how powerful you are if you're being swarmed by goblins that are so far beneath you, but make it so you can never finish an incantation and never kill them until they have chipped away at you. You need your teamwork, you need a balance to make it happen of complementary vocations, and when you pull that off, it's so itch-scratching. It's not clunky combat, but I think that is a word that a lot of people are going to use before they get experienced at it. It really does click.
Yeah, you're not going to get away from the criticism that the game is clunky. You're just not going to. Because of games like Monster Hunter, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Sekiro, Devil May Cry, you know what I mean? Like these games with this really fast-paced, combo-oriented, counter-based stuff. Like if people have played games like that, there's no way they can go into a game like this and not call it clunky. Like they're just going to, because it just feels slower and more deliberate, and it kind of is what it is. I don't find like when somebody says the combat is slow, that's not like an insult, or I don't find that as like a slight at the game. I feel like that's just an observation. And then I have to go and look at the game or play it myself and see like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean slow? Let me experience it and see. And I'm like, slow good or slow bad? Because there's a difference. There's a difference. Playing with a greatsword in Monster Hunter is slow. But if you see how much damage they put out and how fucking effective they can be at staggering and knocking down monsters, then that slow ain't really an insult. So it really depends.
And when it does, bringing things down has never felt better. You really can get into the mind of the beast and play it like a fiddle, and when that happens, it happens so well. There is so many returning creatures, a lot of new ones too. The movesets are there and expanded and lovely. Nothing feels unfair, but nothing feels too easy. A mistake can get you just disintegrated into the dirt, but if you know your foe well, you can take it apart like nothing. And ultimately, it just feels good to play. Even something as...
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that people are gonna complain. You know, they're not everything is made for everyone, but there's this misconception with video games, media, movies, and damn near everything nowadays that everything that is created needs to be created for everyone. And if it's not created for everyone, then it shouldn't exist. And that's such an asinine thing to even say or suggest. It's just so stupid. And once again, the people who say this type of stuff and they put it out into the world, they don't really believe it anyway. Because when it comes to the things that they specifically like, that fits their specific tastes, and somebody complains about it, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, well, this isn't made for you. Well, this wasn't made for you. And I'm just like, well, what happened to that everything's supposed to be for everyone speech? What happened to that? When we were talking about the thing I liked, it was supposed to be universal, and they should add all these things to make everyone happy. But now that we're talking about the thing you like, you're on my side now, telling me that everything ain't made for everyone. You fucking hypocrite. I hate hypocrites, man. I can't stand them. We're all hypocritical, though. And it's fair for me to say that because I hate myself too. So I can say that I hate hypocrites and still not be all high and mighty because I am also a hypocrite in a lot of ways, which is why I can't fucking stand me either. But I'm just saying, whenever I see it and I'm witnessing it happening, it frustrates me.
simple as building a platform with Frigor and then leaping off it and levitating to a ledge that you aren't really supposed to be able to get to, either yet or from where you just got to it. It just really, it's just nice. And the game doesn't care. You can do anything you want here. You can go on a murder hobo spree, you can solve things in ways that never it could have been expected, but it still kind of rolls with and allows for. There is stealth for all guns blazing, you can end up in all sorts of weird situations. Hell, the entire Trickster vocation is built off, go on then, break our AI, let's see what you got, and it revels in it. There are things that you can point to like, oh, the popping's not too great, NPCs just kind of phase in front of you, or, yes, oh no, frames. But like, who cares? There's just so much to fucking love here. If you really want a RPG experience that treats you, your time, and your intelligence with respect, that rewards a slower playstyle, that rewards being invested, that you can really lose yourself in, this is unlike anything else that you could want to experience. The same could have been said about Dragon's Dogma 1, but 2 is better in every single sense.
I'm calling it, man. I'm calling it. One of the best sequels, in my mind, personally, one of the best sequels to ever be made was Borderlands 2. And I feel like this is going to be the modern age Borderlands 2. I feel like this is going to be that game that everybody looks back and is like, dude, this was a good sequel. Because Borderlands 1 was pretty good. But the jump in quality from Borderlands 1 to 2 was fucking astronomical. Like, it was crazy. The only other game that I can say probably had that big of an impact as far as sequels go for me is like from Resident Evil 1 to 2. But Borderlands 2 is probably one of the best sequels that I can think of where the jump from 1 to 2 was so dramatic and it just was so much better. It was beyond belief. And I'm hoping that this game ends up being that way. I really do. I really do, man. I'm rooting for this game so much. I want it to succeed so bad.
And hell, we've not even touched on the fact that we obviously have the entire second nation of Batal and everything going on there. The countless secrets that can be found in the game. Oh, there is no doubt in my mind that this is going to go down in history as one of the great RPGs of all time. I think
hope
it
he's
will be
right.
divisive because of its very nature, but I respect the hell out of them being unbending in the vision that they want to create, because I don't think everything needs to be for everyone. And for the people that
Oh, thank God. Yes, exactly. Everything does not need to be for everyone.
do and will love this Dragon's Dogma 2, they will love it dearly. And that is where I find myself falling. I just want to play and play and play, and I want...
Bro, look at that, man. This looks like Ark. like you ever look at the sprawling landscapes in Ark? Like Ark is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people because that's another one of those games whose potential, like if you, I wish I had a scale or a graph I could show you guys right now, but Ark was one of those games whose potential ability was like far beyond what anybody could ever imagine. Like you just look at the potential scale and you're just like, holy shit, it's limitless. But they literally were just like, yeah, but we're gonna like stop here instead, and this is where we're gonna peak. There's no need to. Like we could go above and beyond and really just make this game an unbelievable experience. But nah. Like nah, we're good. We're good. We're just gonna keep making more and more content and not fixing what's here because you're gonna buy it anyway because you're fucking sheep. So it's not like we have to try. So we're not gonna. And that's my jaded viewpoint of Ark for anybody who enjoys Ark and loves it. I played the hell out of that game over the years, so I have a right. I have a right to bitch about it. That game hurt my feelings.
to savor every second, do everything, and I can already tell it's going to be one of those games that gives you real...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. Was that just a fucking heavenly sword type thing? Was that like a heavenly sword moment? Hold on.
And I can already tell it's going to be one of those games that...
Are you fucking joking? Can you do that? Can you actually do that in the game?
thing, and I can already tell it's going to be one of those games that gives you...
Stop. For anybody who knows what Heavenly Sword is, you are among the blessed people. Be grateful that you have experienced such a wonderful game, because Heavenly Sword was fucking amazing. But that was absolutely reminiscent of Heavenly Sword. Holy crap. That just awakened a nostalgia node in my brain. Holy crap.
you real post-completion sadness that it is over. But hey, then you jump into New Game Plus and figure out the things that you could not figure out the first time around. But it would be remiss to not mention a few of the things that are a little bit, I think this could just be better. One of which is enemy variety. There is a lot of enemies in the game, technically speaking, just as there's a lot of NPCs. And hell, there's a little, like, Pokedex catalog of every NPC in the game. Once you've met them, you get information about them, even what gifts they like and stuff, and that's really nice. But I think that having Goblin and then Super Goblin and then Green Angry Goblin and then Bigger Goblin, they're all still kind of goblins, right? And there is a big chunk of the early game, sort of the first third of the experience, where you will essentially only fight goblins, harpies, wolves, saurians for small enemies, and then cyclopses, ogres, griffins, and minotaurs for big enemies.
Yep, sounds about right. That sounds about right. That doesn't sound surprising at all. That sounds exactly about what I expected. I mean, there's only so many enemies that you can really put in a game like this, to be honest. Like, not making excuses for it, but like, as far as the mythos of this game is concerned, there's only so many enemies, you know? So, kind of is what it is. Satsu, my man, the drivable arrow was in the first Dragon's Dogma as well. Was it? I didn't know that. Like where it zoomed in and you can like guide it. I didn't know that, but yes, Heavenly Sword was amazing. Nariko is one of my favorite female characters in video games. She is a true example of a strong female character. A complete fucking badass who was still very obviously a woman. Like, oh my god. I fucking Nariko, man. Nariko and Kai. I liked Kai too, even though she was kind of annoying. But yeah, I didn't know that. Then again, I think I only played Magic Archer for a little bit, so I wouldn't know unless I actually extensively played that class.
And you eventually start to be like, okay, I'm ready for more. And I also wish there was a few more big climactic sort of boss encounters.
Great Gamble's on Ranger? Are you sure? Was it like their like hidden special ability? Because I'm pretty sure I have Ranger fully leveled up on my current file of Dragon's Dogma that I'm playing. I think. I don't recall seeing us move like that. It yeah, there's a combining of a lot of the vocations in this game. So Strider and Assassin are basically one thing now, which I'm excited about because picking between the two of those was probably the most annoying thing about Dragon's Dogma because I liked both Assassin and Strider. So now that we kind of have both, I'm like, yes, awesome. Also, too, Archer and Ranger was always a weird separation to me. Like those two vocations being separate felt odd to me. And now that Archer's basically like pure ranged, essentially, I'm kind of excited to see the capabilities of that because ranged, like as far as the bow is concerned, unless you really did some specific stuff, it was never really that strong in Dragon's Dogma. But I want to see how they, because they made it like a specific thing. I'm curious what lengths they went to make it powerful and potent. That doesn't necessarily end in using bomb ammo. All right, let's see here.
Though that said, there is more than the first, and they are better than ever, so take that one with a pinch of salt. I also think that weight management is a little bit still too punishing and restrictive. The second you are heavy, air quotes, you just might as well stop. You just can't sprint anywhere. It's awful playing like that. And yes, it's to encourage and play into this cycle of journeys, of a day's adventure. You go out, you fill up, you rest at a campsite, you put your excess gains into storage, and then you go again. You're not supposed to just go and go and go and go without base camps, without pit stops. Right?
Probably the worst thing about this game for me, the thing I'm probably not anticipating the most, is stamina consumption and carry weight. Two things that are like the bane of my existence in any game. That's probably the one thing I can say I'm not looking forward to.
Right, to play into that immersion of really adventuring where time matters. But at the same time, It is really restrictive, and you will find yourself managing your inventory a lot. Until later game, where at least this time around you very much can solve it, and it's very satisfying when you do, but until you do, it does feel a bit busy worky. And then finally, I wish there was better just loot in specific places. One of the things I really like in something like a Souls game is you can learn where a specific cool weapon is and go run and get it, and that's not really the kind of case in Dragon's Dogma. A lot of your equipment will just kind of randomly happen to you, and a lot of the best stuff you can buy off merchants if you find them, and finding them is, of course, part of the joy. There is a lot to be found in this game, a lot of secret areas, a lot of entire secret villages, and you really do want to be on the attention for anything on that front, but I do think it could be a little bit stronger on the loot side.
Oh, the finishers, man. I'm kind of pumped about that too. This game needed something like that, like the finishers really add a bit of visceralness to the game, I think. And I think you can do them to any enemy, no matter what size, which just kind of adds to the fucking awesomeness.
At least in the first half of the game. And I can totally see a lot of people finding the pawn chatter annoying after a while, though after my already ridiculous amount of hours, I'm still not hearing the same lines that much. There really is that much dialogue, and as I say, I do find it charming, and you can limit it or turn it off too, so you're not forced to deal with it forever if you don't wish to. Past that, it's really just going to come down to taste. I have really tried to convey how this game wants to be approached, and if you approach it in the way it wants, you're going to have a phenomenal journey. If you try and brute force it and approach it in a way that you might be used to other RPGs, you're going to have some friction, and that's something that you will have to work out as you get sunk into it. But there really is a lot, and I mean a lot, to love here, and I have no problem heartily recommending it to anyone who sees even the littlest glimmer of something that they like from everything that I've said and from all you have seen when it comes to Dragon's Dogma 2. So, with that all done then, I wish you a, well...
Okay, so that's gotten me sufficiently excited for Dragon's Dogma, obviously. I think they got a video about vocations, and then I was telling you guys earlier.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Rage Gaming.
They actually remade Alone in the Dark. I think I talked to you guys about that before. Some of the people that may have been around for quite some time. I think I told you guys one of the first horror game experiences I ever had in my entire life, like the first horror game I ever witnessed, was a game called Alone in the Dark. And it's a really old game, like really old. But it scared the hell out of me. It was actually quite terrifying for me, and even to this day, it still creeps me out. But it's old and it's really cheesy, and if you saw it now, you'd be like, "Really, this what scared you?" But like, there's a remake out, and it looks cool, and I'm interested in it. I'm not gonna play it, obviously, but there is a no commentary kind of long play of it that we might end up checking out if this content goes through quickly. Thank you for the sub. Welcome to the channel. So yeah, but after I check out this video, if we're still gonna be streaming and playing, then we're gonna check out some of that Alone in the Dark gameplay, because it looks kind of cool, and I'm in the mood for some nostalgia, so we'll see. Did you play Silent Hill for PlayStation 1? I did not play it myself, but I did watch, I sat and watched a friend play it. And it was, that game creeped me out too. Silent Hill has always been a very creepy game for me. But I actually watched a friend play through the first one, and then I've seen a lot of gameplay videos of the others.
In just 2 days, we're going to be jumping into Dragon's Dogma 2, and so in prep for that, you need to have decided your vocation, the class you're going to play, or possibly which vocations you're going to swap between, because there's going to be great benefit to that. Over the last week, I've been doing a lot of research for the vocations, and I've already played a couple of them at a Capcom event. I've made a series of videos going as deep as we could into the details of each vocation. This video aims to be short to the point for all of them, for everything that I've learned, and answer that question, which vocation or vocations are for you. To get us started though, you do need to understand two main concepts. There are two main stats and there are augments. The main stats are strength and magic, and augments are basically powerful passives. As you play, you'll be leveling two things: your character's main level and your vocation level that you're currently playing. The vocation you're currently playing will actually affect what stats you're going to be prioritizing.
So wait, there's only strength and magic? That's it? Across the board? That's interesting.
On each level up. Strength is basically physical damage, and magic as well, magic damage. So by leveling a warrior, your character will prioritize strength most of all per level up, versus say a mage and sorcerer being magic. It means essentially that leveling a mage and swapping to sorcerer is a very logical good thing to do, since both focus magic. But if you were to level a fighter and then swap to sorcerer, it would leave you with some awkward stats, at least early. In DD2, it does appear they put a system in place to help bounce those stats around to be kinder than say the original, allowing for these kind of swaps to not be overly punishing, but it should still matter, at least mainly in the early levels, but you want to be aware of that. You'll like...
Okay, so are they saying that thing that we were talking about earlier does exist? Where there is kind of a bit of a weird stat allocation from switching classes now? Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're saying that it is that way, just to a lot lesser extent.
Likely be fine after playing for a while and get the stats kind of more balanced out. Augments are those passives though, and they're pretty powerful ones at that. By leveling a vocation, you'll get access to more and more augments from that vocation. You'll have 6 total slots for augments.
Oh wow,
vocation
I like that.
And I'm pretty damn sure you're gonna get 5 augments.
Bro, hold on. We can't overlook that. See, this is why I'm looking at Strider and Assassin. For that right there, that shit right there almost sold me alone.
You'll get access to more and more augments from that vocation. You'll have 6 total slots for augments, whatever vocation you're currently playing, and I'm pretty damn sure you're gonna get 5
Bro. Bro, that shit was sweet.
augments per vocation. So at very least, you want to play one more vocation than the one you're mating, just to fill that 6th slot, even if you were only to play it a little. Now with that explained, let's talk about each vocation and why you might consider it. Kicking things off, of course, with the starting options, the starting vocations. First up though, we have the Thief, which is the vocation I'm most interested in playing to open the game with. Is a hyper mobile melee fighter, leaving itself with very few ranged options in exchange for incredible speed, both of attack and movement, to fly around an enemy at pretty much lightning pace. This is largely tied to its simple core evasive move, Swift Step, which allows you to dash short range. You can do that mid-fight, mid-combo many times to continuously reposition and evade attacks. Its melee focus though is using 2 daggers at once, which land in these huge combos, piercing stabs. The fast hitting combo of Carve will...
Yeah, that counter is a lot of the reason why I want to play Strider or Thief. I'm gonna have to start calling these by their new names.
Allow for high DPS, especially when buffed up with say elemental damage from your own toolset or from an ally, where the heavy stabs called Twin Fangs allow for execution style kills. Enemies stunned or fallen down, you can critically hit them for a big burst of damage.
I'm guessing the store's having a closing sale. Yeah, I'm actually just like trying to get the store to sell through most, if not all, of its merchandise, so I can just kind of make back the money investment that I had on here and just start doing some in-depth upgrades. And then I'm gonna kind of, redo things. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Damage with that, or you can dig into them, say during a climb, for a reliable hold. or pin foes down, leaving them exposed in another way. Then with its base mobility, the thief can bounce off walls to reach up higher and benefit in general traversal, stealth techniques to hide or effectively steal from foes mid-fight, or tear up a target directly with the classic spinning Beyblade attack, the Helm Splitter. Between its hyperspeed, climbing mobility, high DPS through consistent attacks, and various tools to enhance that damage, it is very versatile. So in the hands of a good player, I think the thief is going to be able to punish enemy weak points to extreme effect, ridiculous DPS. As a physical focus vocation, you'd expect strength to be the main stat, while for augments, we know that it can decrease the chance enemies target you, gain a lifesteal effect via killing blows, reduce stamina consumption during clings or even pins, and most importantly, augment your strength to push that stat as high as possible. That
My God, y'all cannot tell me that Thief don't look fun as hell, dude. Oh man, it looks so fun.
might be one of the most important augments to unlock if you're going for a physical focus vocation. Overall, I expect the Thief to be easy to play thanks to its simple evade in Swift Step, letting you avoid incoming damage at the drop of a hat so you don't get punished for going hard, while its DPS potential is massive if the player knows how to target the weak points with that DPS. Next up, we have the other new vocation, the Archer. This replaces the Strider and Ranger of the original. This is a very mobile Archer though, one of my favourite versions I've seen in any game. Its main weapon is obviously the bow and arrow, but it absolutely can and will fire up close if it needs to, thanks to its simple ability to fire off shots without aiming. You auto-aim at targets while firing arrows while moving, meaning you could do
Hold on, what? Excuse me? Okay. You have my attention now. What the fuck did he just say?
a slide shot, an aerial shot, a retreating kick off a foe while you fly backwards and shoot at them again. Now, having said that, the Archer obviously has incredible strength at range. You can aim in with R1 to really pick your targets. It allows for easy headshotting of foes or aiming at weak locations without the worry of climbing up there yourself. Using various techniques, you can fire off streams of arrows, fire them in a cone for AoE, use dire shots for more intense blasts to send enemies flying, or enhance damage by using special.
Bro, why they making the Archer look so fun though? Why they gotta make why they making the Archer look so fun? So they split the Strider in half. No. Actually, no. Well, technically, yes. The Strider is now essentially a combination of Assassin and Strider. So, like, the Thief is Assassin and the Strider mixed together. And now the Archer is the Archer and the Marksman together. Essentially. So now the Thief is like pure melee. So Strider Assassin is pure melee with no bow, and the Archer now is pure Archer with no actual melee weapons. If that makes any sense. I think that's better though. I actually like it because it locks you in on the class fantasy, because even when I played Archer and Marksman, like, I still primarily used daggers. So it didn't really feel like, you know. So I actually kind of think this is better.
Arrows, such as explosive arrows for AoE, water ones to drench maybe fiery foes, or types of damage over time in the form of poison. Through the Archer's surprising mobility though, you can apply pressure up close, or escape pressure, all while continually firing. Archers have big impact on the party though, able to bring down ranged enemies that the party can't reach normally, stagger foes by pressuring them at the right time in the right place, or just aim for weak spots like the head or heart. It might prove to be more difficult of a starting vocation though, just because of the aiming and fast movement you're going to need to manage at the same time. I do think the augments seem really impactful. Increased max stamina is huge, faster scaling of foes and cliffs, even increased damage to say a target's vitals. That seems an incredible one to get for every vocation. We do expect the Archer to be more of a physical focused vocation and therefore logically lean into the strength stat, but in any case, this flashy version of a Ranger seems incredible and would be a good thing to have in the party, even as a pawn if not yourself. Moving on though, I have our first magic type of this video, the mage. This new version of the mage has a lot of exciting promise though. Where mage felt a bit overshadowed by the sorcerer in the first game, this mage is much...
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be going mage, honestly. Like, I don't know. I like the idea of obviously having a mage, but they're too slow, man. I feel too vulnerable.
much more supportive, redesigned to lean into that concept. You still have lots of offensive options, but it's the utility-based spells where it really shines. Because of that, in my opinion, this new version of Mage is an auto-include in a party, whether it's you or a pawn. It should be incredible. Now, casting spells is as simple as charging a spell and letting it loose when it's ready, ideally when fully charged. And while you have classic elemental spells like Frost, Lightning, and Fire, you won't have the higher versions you'd expect to see as a sorcerer with that DPS focus in mind. Simply having the ability to provide element damage to punish the element weakness of whatever you're dealing with is a big deal. More so, the mage can now cast an AoE heal as its heavy attack button, a core skill. That means they can now always heal the party. Then you've got the insanely good weapon boons, which will enhance your party's weapons with Frost, Fire, or Lightning for a time. And you can help the team in a different way, like cleansing debuffs, or providing a haste buff to make them faster and attack faster too. It's actually quite hard to justify missing out on something like that in your party. Now obviously as a mage, its main stat will be magic, and its augments should be helpful for any vocation leaning into that. You've got increased magic defense, increased recovery.
Mage felt overshadowed by the sorcerer. The mage was a support class. Only the mage could heal. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't seem like they're mixing the two in this game, though. It seems like sorcerer is still a thing. So I don't know. I don't know what the it like, because they combined the two before. I wonder.
For both normal curatives and magic ones, shorten the debuff timers on your team, longer enhancements, and even better stamina recovery, which will be huge for every vocation in the game. So the DD2's mage is just the ultimate support and should be very straightforward and fun to play. But last for the starting vocations, we have the fighter, the classic sword and shield user, although they can actually use a variety of one-hand weapons in this game. The idea is to draw attention to yourself though and counter everything thrown at you. The standard blocking with your shield will work as a reliable way to stop damage, but a fighter can time that to parry instead, countering attacks entirely and, importantly, leaving enemies exposed.
Wait, does that come built in? Does the parry come built in? Like, it's not like before where it's an actual skill that you have to use, but if you just block in a timely fashion, it's an automatic parry, because that's enticing. That actually sounds kind of cool. Now, go ahead. Somebody tell me that that's how it's always been, so I can be wrong. Because I didn't play a lot with the fighter, so.
That can even be done against large foes, meaning a good player will have enemies reeling constantly, even if they're a big boss. Fighters don't just take the heat though, they also control a fight. Through their very forceful attacks, with say a shield bash, you can knock targets to the ground, or cause even big enemies to start to reel. They can use the classic blink strike to rush straight to a target for a nasty thrust. That can prevent backliners like spellcasters from doing what they want. Or they can very directly help their allies by using their shield to launch them, sending an ally up at a, say, Cyclops' weak point, or just get to an awkward location. So while a fighter classically takes the attention, it shouldn't be understated how impactful they are just in a fight. Their offensive options are good too. They have the simple ability to leap up and slash up to reach aerial foes or higher up enemies, spin attacks to AoE, continual combos where they two-hand the weapon for even more damage. A good fighter then is going to remove the pressure from the team so that they can happily cast for DPS and create consistent windows of opportunity by bringing down the big enemies. Naturally, they are a physical focus vocation though, so strength is going to be their main stat, and their augments will be defense related to increase physical defense, improve recovery when downed, and even extra carry weight, which is nice for everyone. So yeah, I think the fighter is going to be one of the more easy vocations to play at a base level, but extremely impactful when it's played by someone who can say parry consistently.
Yeah, the fighter's actually looking pretty good.
Which is much higher of a skill requirement, leading to really good fight control. Okay, so speaking of warrior, let's now move on to the two advanced vocations, which are unlocked after the opening of the game probably not too far in, starting with a warrior, a two-handed weapon user, be that greatsword or warhammer. These are much slower weapons, but are going to deal much more damage per hit, and they can even be charged to send out an even heavier hit if you're able to time that well. At the same time, they can bowl through enemy attacks by barging with a shoulder or even countering. Warrior is about going toe-to-toe with the enemy and breaking through their guard. You've got your light and heavy attacks. Lights are these horizontal swings and sweeps, where the heavy is more
Damn, that was cool. That little counter uppercut. That was pretty sweet.
of a slam or stab down. These can be charged to enhance the damage and potential stagger, but yet good timing and execution is required. If you want to just tap them out, send them out faster, they'll be weaker hits, but you can speed that up. Like with the light attack mighty sweep, follow that up with another sweep right as the current one lands. It increases the speed of the follow-up, and you can continuously do that. Where the heavy is going to be more about punishing foes, knocked down with critical hits, or leaping and plunging on them, and your barge ability is going to be a core found on R1, which can shove enemies down, or stagger them if well timed. We were expecting Warrior to have a long list of weapon skills though. We've seen a lot of different examples, where they're leaping up and swinging for greater reach, or a hefty cleave to smash multiple enemies at once, a command grab style penetrate and slam. There's a taunt style roar, forcing the attention to the warrior, and we see other
Just want to point out, I hate how he described the mage class. He was so happy and excited that the mage was basically unchanged. Problem was he was presenting it as a massive change. Was he? Like presenting it as a massive change? I don't know. I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention during the mage section because I didn't care about the mage all that much. I'm sorry. I'm getting to the point to where I'm starting to have no satisfied customers. All of my customers are very upset. The mage, the heal for the mage was always AoE? Yeah, I thought that much too. Yeah, it was always like a team heal, right? It never really healed just like one person, right?
examples of weapon skills that seem to deal out bigger hits with longer charge times. They should have some utility options to help them survive and take the hits they're going to be taking, because the warrior will require good confidence to time its attacks well. To counter blows, warriors will need to be played by someone who can manage the pressure of the monster's attention while being one of the bigger hitters. That makes it more of a difficult vocation to play, but in exchange you get to boast some of the heaviest hits in the entire game and absolute domination of even massive enemies. Obviously its main stat will be strength, and for augments we know it has vitality for an increase to max life, and passives that lend itself to breaking guards, knocking foes down, and importantly reducing the loss of max health when you take a hit in general. That's another great perk for every vocation. Next up, our next and last advanced vocation is Sorcerer, the true offensive caster of Dragon's Dogma. Where the mage is largely about support and utility, the Sorcerer doesn't care about that, it's just focused on damage by using massive spectacle spells like the ice storms and tornadoes and the literal meteor strikes. Just like the mage, you'll cast a spell and charge it up and then let it fly, ideally when it's fully charged. And you can use quick spell as a core ability to spend more stamina to get a spell out quicker. That'll naturally require stamina management, main limiter of this type of gameplay. However, the Sorcerer, unlike the mage, has galvanized as its core skill on the heavy slot. By holding it, you recover stamina quickly, even faster when standing still. This creates an all-in playstyle for Sorcerer, letting you go crazy with those intense spells, giving you a way to recover stamina quicker rather than being stuck with none at the end. But what can you actually do with that potent power? Well, you can create massive ice pillars to freeze foes, and even create physical platforms. For Frost, you could also instead use a blizzard to spread frostbite in AoE, or yet the wind one with a full-on tornado, like the original, will send enemies flying up into the sky. For other elements, you could create a huge ball of lightning that persists.
Yeah, the more I watch Mage and Sorcerer or whatever, the more I'm confident I'm not going to play them. I will 100% have them on my team. There ain't no way in hell they're not making it on my team. But I won't play as one. Let me run to the bathroom real quick, guys. I'll be right back. I have returned. I still think they should do at least 2-player co-op for Dragon's Dogma, you and your pawn with a friend. That would be fun. That would be really fun, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I sincerely don't think it's gonna happen.
Zapping nearby enemies with very potent effect, or for fire, create a cone of fire that lasts for a while on the ground, or yet the meteor call to strike down. Alongside other options like the mage also has, like channeling flamethrowers, smaller lightning zaps, the ability to levitate and move around like that. So I think this is going to appeal to many who just like cool magic, want to focus on DPS instead. The difficult...
Honestly, the ability to levitate around and stuff and get to like places that you couldn't normally get to is probably the single selling point for mage or sorcerer for me. That's probably the one selling point where I'm just like, I would play for that.
of the vocation will be more about managing the stamina so you're never really exhausting yourself at the wrong time, and maximizing the damage potential with well-timed, expensive charge spells that need to be the right element against the right enemy. Naturally, its main stat will be magic, and the augments will be tied to that, increasing your raw magic stat, increased element weakness exploit, and debuffs that are more likely to trigger, such as burning a target. Overall, just like Warrior, I think the damage potential in one hit is going to be colossal for this vocation. This then brings us to the first of the 4 hybrid vocations, which importantly cannot be used by pawns. They are Arisen only. We'll start with a really unique trickster, the only vocation that doesn't directly attack the enemies. By spreading smoke and clouds, the trickster creates illusions, and not just of themselves, but also, say, terrain stuff like false floors and walls, causing enemies to walk off cliffs or find an area impassable. They can also create huge illusions like false creatures to terrify even huge monsters, like knocking a griffin out of flight. Further, the trickster also seems to be able to buff and support the allies, so it's a very unique and effective playstyle. The unique weapon it uses is called the sensor, which is what's creating all the fumes they use for the illusions. Light attack will generate some of those fumes.
The trickster kind of seems like a almost like a pseudo tank, kind of. It feels like a meme class. And I think it would be fun under those parameters. Almost kind of like the insect glaive, like a lot of people consider kind of a meme weapon. Or the hunting horn. I'll probably end up playing the trickster when I have, like, I'm satisfied with like all the combat and stuff I've done. I've played warrior, I've played strider or thief or whatever, and now I'm just like, all right, I need to do something that's like that'll just keep me busy. Double jump is
Heavy attack
better
can
than
break bones to
levitate.
yourself, which you can reposition by invoking the essence. This repositioning can cause enemies to, say, leap off edges, or attack each other with the huge attacks meant for you. In the attempt of doing these things, you'll want the attention to be on you, so the trickster does have a taunt effect to draw their attention and then start manipulating them. Now, for greater control, we have seen examples of a type of projection of yourself, allowing for camera-controlled movement of an illusion. Using that, you can scout an area, or just draw enemies into the right spot beforehand. Overall, the trickster is definitely going to be very impactful in a fight, but that impact's limited by the player's creativity using these powers. With how potent gravity as a weapon is, though, you can definitely kill entire packs of enemies instantly with no threat to you or the party. But only if you identify the right ways to trick enemies or attack one another by creating these false illusions. So yes, very unique in design, but it might be a bit like Marmite to many. Great for a creative player, but not so much for one that just doesn't know how to use it. So I think this is going to be one of the harder vocations, but great when used well. In any case, it's magic focused, as you likely expected, and while we don't know a lot about its augment options, we do know of detection. This alerts you to seeker tokens and wakestone shards with some sounds and visuals if you're near one. These are basically collectibles that are going to serve an important role in trade or for reviving yourself or even NPCs. Very valuable and normally hard to find. So, playing Trickster just for that augment could be worth it. Moving on, let's now talk about what appears to be the most popular new vocation of DD2. That's the Mystic.
And Trickster actually looks kind of fun. We'll see. This is the one, though. This is the one I saw, and I was immediately like, okay. But I think because it's so popular and the fact that everybody's probably going to be using it, for some reason, I'm feeling really hipstery about it. I'll admit it.
Spearhand, like a medieval RPG version of a Jedi, using both physical and magic damage attacks. Further, the magic power of this vocation is like the Force. You're able to lift heavy objects and throw them, or even corpses, fire bolts of energy to stun or snare, instantly teleport to. Of course, there's two sides to it though, starting with the spear. You've got light and heavy attacks that can deal a lot of damage. The light attack combo has you twirling the spear in an arc. You can infinitely do that until you run out of stamina for great sustained DPS, where the heavy combo is the one that gives you ranged magic arcs, meaning ranged enemies is not a problem for you. Different weapon skills also provide a bit of mobility and weapon damage too, like the dash forward and stab, which is like a short range teleport, or the leap upwards and then plunge down, which can also be used to evade at the same time. So the weapon power is very good, but it's the magic that enhances it all. This magic can come in the form of, say, different bolt types. Charge up and zap a target from range for, say, a stun or even a snare. If you trigger it as it contacts, it bursts out in stronger effect, like a stronger stun or AoE snare. Whereas if you press jump as that bolt contacts, you instantly teleport to the target, specifically where the bolt hit. This means
Yeah, that's cool. That's fucking sweet. And it just seems like this class is equipped for everything. Like, every class in this game seems like, okay, these are the things that they're good at. This is why you would play this class. But this one is just like, I can do all the things. So, if you want to do all the stuff, then pick me.
you can aim it to land where you want on an enemy. But also using that magic, you can pick up and throw objects, send foes flying into space, instantly killing weak enemies, create shields for yourself and nearby allies to reduce damage taken. You could also steal stamina from foes by draining it. There's also a kind of ultimate looking ability where you generate a second version of yourself using magic. That's a huge DPS increase. So yes, overall the Magic Spearhand has an option for every situation and is definitely one of the most versatile vocations.
What y'all think about the Magic Spearhand? I think it looks fun. I do. I think it looks really fun.
I think it'll be on the higher end of difficulty to play though, because there's no reliable block or evade. You have to use your abilities to attack and dodge at the same time, but a skilled player should get a lot out of this. Now it's unclear whether its main stat will be strength or magic, or maybe like a hybrid mix, and the augments are unfortunately pretty unknown. We just know that you can get better movement speed during lifts, or extra gold from some rewards, and whatever athleticism turns out to be. Next up though, we have the Magic Archer, the vocation with an answer to, every situation. It's a mix of incredible offense and brilliant support, but it is limited by the intense stamina costs, and also it doesn't really have mobility. The Magic Archer is one that weaves magic into its bow to fire off magical arrows. These arrows can be manipulated to be a variety of elements, some even holy and healing for your allies, or just devastating to enemies. You've got classic options like Frost to Slow or Lightning and Fire, but they're
Looking at Magic Archer, it does look like it'll be something I do try. I'll probably pick that over Archer. Or the, whatever the heck they have now in the place of that. It looks fun.
changed with some pretty interesting effects thanks to your power. Take the Flame Fang arrow. It allows you to manually control the flight of a shot, which explodes on contact. Or there's the Hailstone Bolt, which generates a physical block of ice. The longer you charge the shot though, the bigger the block, and it can be great for smashing foes. Power. Take the Flame Fang manipulated to be a variety of elements, some even holy and healing for your allies, or just devastating to enemies.
I do believe he said that. Apparently in Dragon's Dogma 2, you can heal with arrows. Just like what is it? Skull and Bones. If your friend's ship has taken too much damage, you can pop in the healing cannons and shoot your friend's ship with healing cannons. Hold on.
You've got classic options like Frost to Slow or Lightning and Fire, but they're changed with some pretty interesting effects thanks to your power. Take the Flame Fang arrow. It allows you to manually control the flight of a shot, which explodes on contact. Or there's the Hailstone Bolt, which generates a physical block of ice. The longer you charge the shot though, the bigger the block, and it can be great for smashing foes with blunt damage, even though you're a magic type. There's the Candescent Fire Orb that generates fire damage over time in a large area. You can stick it to walls or enemies. There's the Frostseeker Bolts that home in on targets, building up frost with a slow to maybe even become a stun. There's the hilarious Ricochet Arrows that bounce off walls and so on. So in tight environments, they'll bounce like crazy, dealing ridiculous burst. You can also charge those Remedy Arrows instead of healing to literally revive allies from range. Very...
Ooh, that's actually... that's actually kind of cool. You know what? So if I was going to pick a class that's going to be support that has healing capabilities, it would probably be the Magic Archer before I picked a mage, for sure. 100%. I would probably never play with a mage in this game, but I would absolutely play as the Magic Archer.
Very helpful. No other vocation can really do that. So these and more are some of the unique effects the Magic Archer can use. But as an archer, you do need to aim the bow, either auto-aim quick-fire shots that aren't so strong, or aim properly with R1 to track and even prep homing shots. This special aim mode will continue to add more and more arrows to home in on the target the longer you aim. Further, you can make this aiming mode either bigger or smaller, depending on whether you want to focus the DPS or AoE. Overall, I think the Magic Archer is going to be quite easy to play and understand. You've got arrows for every situation and interesting mechanics to each. The difficulty will come with the, big stamina cost of these effects, but also the fact that you have no special mobility. Evade, counter, block, Nothing like that. You are essentially a caster with a bow, so be aware. Having said all that though, I would expect the main stat to be magic for this one, and while the augments are mostly unknown, we know you can increase the defense of your pawns and recover stamina on kill, which is really quite good. Lastly, that brings us to the final vocation at the launch of the game, the Incredible Warfarer, which chooses not to be one vocation, but all of them at once. You can bring out any weapon, and the many different weapon skills attached. This is limited by having lower base stats, but this vocation can and must make the most of those incredible combos of the different playstyles. Where a caster might be most effective, then follow that up with an incredible stagger from the warrior, follow that up with an incredible weak point punish with like a thief. Maybe you need to quickly protect an ally by swapping to a fighter, or take down annoying flying enemies as an archer. All of that is incredibly an option, but with those lower base stats, you will need to truly understand all the vocations and the enemies to make the most of the right element, the right attack, the right combo. Now unfortunately the Warfarer is the last and least revealed vocation, so it's the one we have few details on. So the mechanics of this, the weapon skills, the core skills, what you actually can do, the extent of that, needs to be revealed in the full game. I suspect that the Warfarer will be one of the last, if not the last, hardest vocation to unlock. But I also imagine the Warfarer is going to be the hardest vocation to play.
So the Warfarer is basically the hero of light from Final Fantasy XIV. You're basically the Crystal Warrior from Final Fantasy XIV. You have all the classes and you can change to any one at any time. Alright. That actually sounds pretty interesting. You are the Warrior of Light.
For, well, obvious reasons. But with its incredible potential when played by a skilled Warfarer, I think it should be very impactful. But there you have it. That's my full overview of every vocation and all the main information to consider about all of them. I hope this helped you understand your options and maybe form a plan for what you're going to play, whether that's one vocation or many. Until next time though, I've been Hollow, you've been New, thanks for watching.
Interesting. Yeah. So, now that I've kind of seen that and gotten a breakdown, it's gonna be a tough decision. I'm either gonna play Thief or Magic Archer. Up front, like my starter class is either gonna be Thief or Magic Archer. I mean, I know you can't technically start as a Magic Archer, but like those are going to be the two ones that I either go for. Because they both look equally fun. Fighter actually looks enticing. I'm not usually a sword and board kind of character. Like, I typically don't have that kind of play style. But they did a good job at making it look fun. I do wonder about the changing. How does that work? Primary one class, secondary as another, or is it skill based? I'm not exactly sure. They never really elaborated on it. I don't know how many classes you can have active at once that you can switch between, or if you have like specific gear sets or whatever. Does your gear have to change with the swapping of the vocation? Like, there's quite a few questions to be asked in regards to that, but alas, we do not have the answers to those at the moment. So we'll have to wait until that information is readily available, but I mean, the game looks good. The game looks real good. Let's see what the growth looks like. Jesus Christ, man. I've gotten to the point to where, like, buying new sections for my store and growing it has gotten so expensive, man. It's actually kind of crazy how expensive this is. I'm wondering how... Wait. I'm wondering how to make money because the restock cost is like 4,000 and I only make what well, two questions. What's your store level? First and foremost, what is your actual store level? That's a good place to start. Let me see. They're buying up most of this stuff. If you're wondering why my shelves and stuff are so bare, it's because I'm actively allowing them to go through everything. This is intentional. Just a heads up for anybody who thinks I'm an idiot. Like 35? Okay. Did you buy all of the licenses like really early? Like how far are you on the licenses? Because it seems like you're... And also, are you using the storage rooms? Like, are you filling up your shelves in the storage room as also filling up the shelves in your store? Or do you just have your store shelves filled and then you fill those accordingly? Because depending on how you're playing, that could determine like how you actually make money in the game. Also, too, if you're not using loans, you should probably start using the loans because that's kind of a key point of getting more money in this game too, is you really have to utilize the loans. The next license is at level 16, you say? All right, hold on. Management. Okay, so you really... Let me see. Hold on. So the next one you can unlock says it's level 16. So you actually haven't been grabbing all the licenses. What's up, Lithian? According to your level, like how you've been leveling up. How many items do you have on your like one of my rules of thumb, like the way that I play is like I'll have a full row of items like this, but never any more than this on a shelf at one time. So like for bread, this is one row. For these, I actually have them split cuz you get a ton of those on the shelves. So these the hot sauce, the ketchup, and stuff like this, they all have their own little two shelf section or whatever. But nothing I put on the shelves take up like a whole shelf. You know what I mean? Like I keep everything kind of minimal. And you want to do that because if you start restocking your shelves so much, what's happening is all the money you could be making is on your shelves. Like people aren't buying it quick enough for you to be making a profit on the day to day. So what I would do is start downsizing a bit and just kind of relegating your product to just like one shelf specifically. So flour, cereal, bread, milk, you know what I mean? Like, and keep it very strict to that point. And don't keep any back stock either. Like if you're okay with going in and filling up your shelves yourself and stocking them up yourself, then don't even really use the storage room as much. Just keep filling up your shelves and making sure you have products, and that should make sure that your cash flow is coming in at a reasonable rate. Because one one of the issues that I ran into is I was like, man, I'm not making no money. Like, where's all my money? And then I would come into the stock room and this entire room was full. There was boxes on every shelf and they were completely packed. And I'm like, here's all the money. This is all the money. This is where it's at. They're on the shelf. I spent all that money backstocking all this stuff. And I'm like, oh God, where's all my money? That's where it was. It was all on the shelves because I had pre-bought all that stuff. And you have to sell through that stuff to get that money back. Like, that's the whole point. So the storeroom is very convenient for late game because you can use your restockers to put stuff away quickly and keep your shelves full. But one thing you also have to remember though is like all the stuff that's sitting back here, all the product that you've bought to prep and make sure you have stuff in stock, that's money spent that you haven't gotten back yet. And you ain't gonna get it back until it sells. So in some ways, it's not really a great idea to fill up your storeroom. Especially if you want to see immediate return on investment. I do need to have like 4 shelves full, or like just two. Do I need to have like 4 shelves full, or just like 2 or 3? It's kind of hard to explain. But my rule of thumb is either one item is designated to 4 spots like this, or 2. That's it. No more or no less. The only time I've ever gone any higher than that is for stuff like toilet paper. Because when you look at the toilet paper, you can only fit 4 of them on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. So sometimes if I have extra space, I'll have 2 entire rows for toilet paper. Because it's just like, okay, those go really quickly. Because one person can walk up and grab 3 rows of toilet paper. So in those instances, like I'll give a little more room, but otherwise, like you have to really decide what needs more shelves and what doesn't. So for example, something like the tea here, these are a really good example right here. This tea, you can put tons of these on one shelf. Like a whole bunch of them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Like, you can put a ton of those on one shelf. So these technically only really need 1. Like, you don't need 2 or 4 for these. You can just do 1. Because it's going to take a while to go through those. But the flour, for example, these are ones you're going to want 4 shelves for. Because you can only do 2, 4, 6, 8 on these. And then when you're looking at something like these boxes of cake mix or whatever, you can fit 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 of those on one shelf. So these generally only need 2. You get what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to prioritize, and you want to keep your shelves full, but you want to maximize your space. And you don't want to overuse it, because what'll happen is you'll have more money on the shelf than you're actually getting back. And it'll seem like you're not ever really making a profit because you're so fixated on keeping the shelves full that that's where your money's just sitting. And they're not buying your product quick enough, is what the usual result will end up being. And one piece of advice that I can give that I've kind of learned through playing this game for so long is get used to the idea of being okay with not having something. You know, get used to the idea of not restocking an item unless it's gone. You know what I mean? So like if you go through a day and for example, this is how much sugar you've had at the beginning of the day, and by the end of the day, this shelf is gone and you don't have any more, that's fine. So that way when you buy more, you can fill the shelves back up and just wait until it goes out again. It's not a bad thing. Like you'll have some customers that'll be upset, but it's fine. Your reputation in this game is non-existent. Like there's no actual reputation system. They kind of make you believe that there is, but there's not. People are gonna come and buy your stuff regardless. Basically, you have to be a little comfortable with running low on items. Exactly. It's hard to do that, obviously, because you're like, I want people to be able to get the stuff, but you should be okay with running out of things. Because that means that the money that you're putting on the shelves, you are getting back in the immediate future. And it's not stocked up in this room. You know? You don't got like $10,000-$20,000 worth of merchandise just sitting in here waiting to be sold. It's on the shelf being sold. And when it's gone, it's gone. You put more product on the shelf, that's getting sold. And there's a balance. There's a balance that you're going to have to kind of get used to and work through. But once you find your rhythm, you'll be like, okay, now I'm starting to get it. And also, too, like I said, very important, use the loans. But when you take out your loans, this is also very important. Right now, I have 3 days left to pay these off, and I'm going to go ahead and pay these off early, right? So we're going to pay these off early. Always, if you're going to take out a loan, and a lot of people are just like, oh, but I don't want to do that because I'm going to have to pay so much. It does not matter. Put your term length as low as it can go every single time, no matter what. Because the higher your term length is, the more money you're going to owe back. So if you keep your term length low, you're going to benefit more from it. And it's going to suck because it's going to seem like, oh man, every day I have to pay all this money to pay my loans back. But basically what you're going to end up doing is after having your loan and paying off your loans for 2 or 3 days, you're going to go ahead and just pay them off in full, get new loans, and you're going to end up with more money as a result. Is there some items that are more important than others, or does it depend? Oh, thank you, Helen, for the sub. Welcome to the stream. Not really. I initially thought that when I was playing this game, I was like, okay, there are some items you want on your shelves and there are some you don't. That it turns out that's not true, because people in this game tend to shop at complete random. There doesn't seem to be any incentive for them to go for any other items more than others. It is completely random. When they walk into the door, they have a random set of things they're going to grab, and they're going to grab it regardless of what you have in stock. So the key is to make sure that you have at least some of everything on the shelves at all times. To maximize your profits, you want to make sure that there is at least some of every item you have available on the shelves. And that's the optimal strat. You don't want to not have something when you're playing optimally. But you also don't want to have too much of any given item on the shelf at any time, too. If that makes any sense. I'm trying to explain this the best way I can, but it's very hard to it's a lot easier to show in practice than to explain to somebody. Also, if this looks weird to you guys, I have a mod. This game is modded right now, so I have a mod that actually shows me what I have in stock and what I don't. So if you guys are seeing these numbers, you don't recognize these numbers, or if you see me walk over to a shelf, for example, and just pull a box out of thin air, like so, that is because I have mods on right now. And they allow me to do these things that make my life a little more easier, so there's that. I just put out a video recently. If you guys want to see the mods that I'm using, highly recommend you use them because this game is in early access and it's unfinished. There's a lot of aspects of this game that should be in the game but isn't. And as a result, this game is much harder than it needs to be. So I don't have a problem with modding. I think it's fine as long as you're not like cheating per se, because there are cheats you can put into the game that give you unlimited money or stuff like that. I don't do that stuff because that trivializes the game and basically defeats the entire purpose of playing. But I will add some quality of life stuff for features that I feel like should already be in the game. Can I have an... Oh, wait, what? Jen, what are you saying to me? Satsu, are your customers leaving things in the wrong place at the moment? No. No, they're not. Wait, what do you mean? Because I haven't... Wait, what? Yeah, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound right to me. Okay, so no more licenses for me. I am going to buy this last partition though for the store. Should be this last area over here. And I think this is like the last expansion that I'll do for a while here. So now we got to redo the store again. So use the bank, don't buy too much, and don't use storage. I wouldn't say don't use storage. I would say use storage sparingly. So use storage on items that you feel like you should use storage for. And if I had to make any recommendations on that, I would say toilet paper, the chicken that goes in the freezers, the 4 packs of chicken, maybe the kegs of beer. Like anything that has 6 items or less. That's the best way that I can put that. So let's go to the store and I can show you specifically what I mean, because this will make it a little better. So as long, like all these boxes, 8, 9, 12, 8, 12, 16, all these are fine. You don't really necessarily have to keep stuff like that in storage. 8 would probably be the highest I would go, like 8 or 9 maybe. You can keep stuff stored in anything higher than 8 or 9. You don't have to store in the storage room. But definitely 100% you want to store anything that has a 4. So stuff like this, big box like this, potatoes, whatever, you only can put 1 on a shelf at a time or 4 on a shelf at a time. This is something you want to store in the storage room because you're going to run out of these quick. You're going to have like 50 customers come in. One person can grab all 4 of these and they'll be done. Like they'll be gone and you'll be screwed. You know what I mean? So these I would put in there 100%. This, something like this, chicken, definitely. You want to put that in the storage room. Probably flowers. Where's the flower at? These, any of the flowers, either the blue, the red, or the orange bags, these are worth storing because there's a small amount on the shelves. Those go pretty quickly. These here, the dishwashing tablets, those are worth storing and having back stock of. Honey and peanut butter, no. Sugar, no. Bread, no. None of this stuff is really worth keeping back stock in because you can store so much on the shelf, you don't really need any in the bag. Beers, obviously not. I don't think there's any really. Sushi. Sushi, that's another one. Yeah, that's the one I was trying to remember. There's like one for the cooler. that you want to keep back stock on, and that's the sushi. The large one, definitely. Not so much the small one. Like, the small one is not that important, honestly. But the large one you definitely want to keep. Because where's the sushi case? Sushi case? Here it is. Yeah. Because this is how much you get per box. That's not a lot. They go through these fast. Like I said, one customer can roll in and they can buy like 4 of these at one time. So those go quick. And that's the general philosophy you want to go by. If the item gets cleared off the shelf quickly, you should probably store it in the back. But the more items you can put on the shelf at a time, like for example, I never ever store in the back yogurt. Never store yogurt. Never store teas. Never store the lamb chops or the steaks, because you can get so many of them on the shelf at one time. It's kind of pointless storing them in the back, and all you're doing is kind of hoarding product and cash, and it's counterproductive. It's the best word I could put, or the best word I can say to explain that whole situation. So those are my general suggestions. And overall, like, you're going to be making money kind of at the same pace, but you're going to be physically seeing more money come in more consistently. And I don't know how much sense that actually makes, but hopefully you can understand what I'm saying or trying to convey. I am terrible at explaining things. I don't have sushi yet, but when you get it, that'll definitely be a thing you should look at. Generally speaking, like I said, if it has 8 items, 9 items, let's just say 9 items or more, then you don't have to store it in the back. 8 items or less, I would keep a back storage of them. Realistically, though, like, you can store whatever you want, honestly. But like I said, you're going to have that problem where you feel like you're just not making enough money. You know, you're going to always be like, oh my God, like, dude, I'm just not making enough money. But in reality, you probably are. You're just storing too much in your storeroom. And you have a bunch of money that you've spent that you have not made your return on investment yet. Now, there's other ways to make more money in this game, but they're very meticulous and extremely tedious. So, for example, if you have product that you have an abundance of in your store, but it goes on sale and it's selling for cheaper than it normally does, what you could do is take it off of the shelves and put it back into your storage and wait until the price comes back up, and then put it back on your shelves to maximize your profits. But believe me when I tell you, that shit is extremely tedious, and it requires an extra level of attention to this game that you're like nobody fucking has. Like, there's nobody I can think of that's that into this game that they're going to go through and look meticulously at every item that has a price change and be doing that type of stuff. Like, unless you're insane and really, really into this game, I would be very surprised to see anybody go to that length. If you do, more power to you. Like, because you're probably making the big bucks. You're probably maximizing your profits and swimming in dough. But I don't have the fucking patience, because half of the time I don't even know what's on sale. I need this advice. I was doing so much restocking. Yeah, you wanna keep your back stock to as much of a minimum as possible. And when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to items that you have an abundance on, just restock those items yourself, you know? So if you're running low on yogurt, buy some yogurt, grab it. Don't even let your restockers do it. Like fuck them. They can do something else. They got other things to do, I'm sure. And just restock it yourself. Because you're gonna get so many of them that it's not gonna be something you have to do every day. You'll probably have to do it every couple days or so. You can change the price of stuff. You can change a bit more stuff. Like if something is, yeah, that also too is a good way to make a little extra cash. If you look at most of my stuff, they're priced a little higher than what they should be. A lot of these had price changes that I haven't gone in and changed because of what I just explained earlier. So like this one was at 350, but the price was higher before. So at this market price of 266, I'm gonna make this an even $3 because it's higher than the actual market price, but it's still low enough to where people won't find it too expensive. So you're still making a bit more of a profit. So this is 361. I got it at $4. This one's $22 or 21.81. I got this at 22. This one's $5.96. I got it at $6. I could probably bump this up to $6.25 or $6.20 and be okay. I'll still make a profit on it and a little more of a profit, and people won't get upset and find it too expensive. Honey, $12.22. I got it at $12.50. This one's $5.80, which means it went up recently. I only have it at $5, so I'm making less than I could be making. So I would probably just put this at an even $6. So you're making slightly more than what you normally would. Little stuff like this, and even this is like tedious for me because I don't like going out to the shelves and doing this shit. I feel like there should be, like, when you go to your computer and you're looking at items that you're selling and items you have access to, you should be able to change the price right here. I think there should be an option in here for you to change the prices in your computer somewhere. But I digress. The game is still in early access, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be like that about it. It's not that big a deal, but it is something that I think should happen. But yeah, I've been playing this game quite a bit. I screenshotted that shelf I was telling you about and I sent it to you on Twitter. Yeah, let me go look at that because I am curious as to what you're talking about. Hold on, let me see. Twitter. Which Twitter did you send it to? I got 3 Twitter accounts. Here we go. Oh shit. Yeah, wow. I've never seen that before. Huh. Yeah, no. I've never ever seen that. Like, not in my game, not in anybody else's game. I didn't even think that was possible. Hmm. I got rid of the headache of exact change. You can change the price to whole dollar or 50 cents. Yeah, that's what I did too. Um, Although that becomes less relevant once you have cashiers that are hired. Um, Although, I mean, I feel like 3 cashiers is more than enough. Like, I don't think you will ever actually need that 4th cashier. But if you want it, you're going to have to continue to cashier. So that'll still be a problem for you if you decide to go for the 4th cashier. But honestly, I don't think it's worth it trying to get a 4th cashier. Well, that's just my opinion. But yeah, if you're new here, especially if any of my advice has helped you out, don't forget to subscribe and follow. I stream often, not always streaming this game specifically, but it's going to be a lot of Dragon's Dogma 2 and this game in my future. I drop videos with tips, hints, and tricks and stuff about this game all the time. So if you are into that type of stuff, you like that kind of content, then subscribing would definitely be appreciated. So we're probably going to be wrapping this stream up in a bit here. We'll check out Alone in the Dark. Well, I'll probably watch it tomorrow, like by myself or something, but be on the lookout for Dragon's Dogma 2 stuff. Definitely tomorrow night if I can play it and get it downloaded by then. Otherwise, I got a couple more tips and tricks and stuff that I could be putting out for this game. I did a mod showcase earlier, which was pretty good, and they're already adding more mods and stuff. So as that comes out, I'll pick out like 3 mods that are probably noteworthy, even if I don't actually use them. What do I do now? I just wait till the 4 boxes of yogurts go by. Basically, yeah. Essentially, like if you have a ton of back stock of stuff, then you can still replenish other items. Just stop replenishing the things that you want to make room for, if that makes any sense. Just focus on other things and let that run out, because it will eventually. And if you really want to get rid of it quickly, you could also like undercut yourself a bit. So this is 207. Like you could really kind of put this at like $1.80 or something, and that'll probably incentivize more people to buy it. You'll make less money off of it, but you'll get them out of your store pretty quickly. I don't know how well that works, honestly, though. Like I haven't seen any significant like behavioral differences based on prices. I haven't really tested that out, so I really couldn't say if that's how that works or not, but one could assume. I don't know for sure, but one could absolutely assume. So I'm gonna remodel this store, because I hate the way this looks right now. It's weird. But I'm gonna change some stuff around and try to make this look a little more presentable, because I am just not a fan of what's going on here. But this will be very different the next time you guys see me stream. This will be significantly different. But hopefully you guys did enjoy the stream, though. We got to watch some